That doesn't bother you? Aints looked straight at Ainzak. What was this guy talking about? Being undead and all? Oh, I see. Well, there are all different kinds of undead. It is not as if I feel like all of them are my brothers. Do excuse me, then what race are you, your majesty? If it is not rude to ask, I hope you'll tell me. I am an overlord. Have you heard of them? No, my humble apologies, but in my ignorance I haven't well, it makes sense, thought Aints. In Yggdrasil there were all sorts of monster overlords. These included overlord wise men, who excelled at magic. There were also overlord chronomasters, who employed special abilities related to time, and overlord generals, who excelled at leading undead armies. Even the weakest of them was level 80. Aints had gotten a fair grasp on the average strength here. He understood what people considered powerful. With those things in mind, he was sure that the appearance of an overlord would cause quite a panic. Undead didn't age. Unless someone killed them, they would continue to reign over the land, immortal. He hadn't heard any stories about other overlords, so he had guessed there weren't any around. I see. I'd like adventurers to leap into the unknown and gather that sort of information. If other overlords exist and harbor hatred of the living, they would be pretty problematic. You realize that, right? Ainzak's eyes widened, and he nodded. Yes, it is just as you say, your majesty. I am now convinced that I understand the true form adventurers should take. Yet you should consider me an exception to undead. I understand the value of humans, so I won't kill them without reason, but other overlords may not act the same way. They won't, there is no guarantee. Am I the exception, or is my whole race the exception? We should probably assume the worst. You are right, your majesty. I'll keep that in mind. Aints nodded. If they found traces of another overlord and it had been defeated, it could lead them to the people who brainwashed Sholtia. Or there could even be an overlord out there being mind-controlled in the same way Sholtia was. All right, I'll go make an appointment. Thanks. Ainzak got out of the carriage. After watching him go, Aints took out a mask and put it on. He walked around Rantel without it now, but he figured that in the imperial capital, especially having snuck in it, would be better to do at least the minimum to conceal his identity. He also changed from his usual robe to one that was more subdued. Its magic tier was one lower, but that couldn't be helped. Aints had only one god-tier robe. There were also all the things his guildmates had left. Their armor was even more customized to the individual than their weapons were. They had allotted lots of data to buff specific skills they possessed, so while he could use those items, he couldn't take full advantage of their abilities. If that was the case, then Aints preferred something he built for himself, even if it was a little weaker. As he was adjusting all of his gear, there came a knock at the carriage door. Ainzak spoke to him. I am terribly sorry, your majesty. What is it? Unfortunately, he can meet you today and would like to do it tomorrow. If you wish, I'll tell him you are here and try to convince him. What do you think? That is not necessary. He wouldn't make a good impression by forcing himself on someone who was busy. On the contrary, from a sales point of view, he had made a cold call and actually gotten an appointment. He hadn't been turned away at the door, so that was a fantastic success. Let us just do it tomorrow. We should be thankful he is available, so Sua, what is it? Aints asked, noticing Ainzak's eyes had gone round. Oh, I was just thinking how tolerant you are, your majesty. Some nobles even look down on merchants, so you thought I would order you to force him to meet me. He didn't reply immediately, which spoke louder than words. Yes, that is what he thought would have happened. Aints wondered if that would have been the more correct way for a ruler to act. It was too late now, but Aints Ulgaun was a king. He needed to act like one, even when it felt weird to Satoru Suzuki. This is the first time I've ruled over humans. If you think that is correct in human society, then I'll do it. Ainzak frowned. I don't know, your majesty. I don't know any kings, so I am not sure if it is proper or not. Personally, I prefer the way you were thinking just now. Perhaps high-ranking nobles should exercise their power. Human society sure is complicated. Aints grumbled that he still didn't know what to do. Ainzak gave him a friendly smile. You may be right about that, your majesty. There really is a lot to deal with. The two of them chuckled inside the carriage. Aints pumped his right fist where it couldn't be seen. He was secure in the knowledge that he had loosened Ainzak up quite a bit. Did you tell him that I would be accompanying you tomorrow? No, I didn't. I wanted to hear your thoughts first. Is it an issue if I give your name? If he won't make a fuss, then it is fine. You know him better than I do, so you should decide. Understood. Then I think I'll keep it secret for now. After deciding the specific time, Ainzak left the carriage again. Aints felt a little bad treating him like a gopher. He knew this wasn't a seniority-based society, but Satoru Suzuki didn't like ordering his elders around. I get why so many people dislike having subordinates older than them. If it was someone from an entirely different society, it probably wouldn't have bothered him. For example, if Ainzak were from the Empire, he wouldn't have any problem ordering him around. The reason he did now must have been that he saw Ainzak as one of his subjects. He should be given fair compensation. If I don't remember that people who don't seek rewards, like the members of Nazarick, are an exception, I'll be the worst ruler ever. I don't want to be a king like a black company. Aints made a vow to the voice of Hero. He could hear it skimming across the back of his mind. When it comes to Ainzak's reward as a king, how much should I actually pay him? Is market rate for a mithril plate adventurer enough? No, he should get a managerial allowance. So 10% no, that's too much. 5% more. Could someone just give me advice about compensation? He could consult with Demiurge and Albedo, but he was skeptical about whether they actually understood what proper compensation rates consisted of. He had the feeling they would just say anyone should feel happy to even have a chance to work for you, Lord Aints, which means I need a smart human. I can rely on Fluda for magic, but he even said himself that his knowledge on other realms is patchy. Nazarick was practically invincible, but in the realm of knowledge about human society, Aints felt a bit anxious. Start with what you have. I am glad I went with Demiurge's plan. Of course, by the time Demiurge is suggesting something, I don't have any intention of rejecting it. As Aints was letting his mind wander, there came a knock at the door. Sorry to keep you waiting, Your Majesty. He hadn't been waiting in particular, but he received Ainzak in the generous way a ruler should and urged him to go on. I made an appointment as you wished, tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Good. Then just until tomorrow I am going to send you back to Rantel. Now then, relax and accept the spell Greater Teleportation. Ainzak disappeared instantaneously. With Greater Teleportation, it should have been no trouble to get him outside the outermost of Rantel's 3 walls. If there was anything in the way of his landing position, he would zip to a nearby safe place, so there was no need to check up on him with another spell. Now I guess I'll get in touch with that one using message, Aints murmured to himself. It wasn't something he enjoyed doing, so he said it partially to motivate himself. He was contacting the one who said he would give everything to Aints Fluda. He was dragging things out with him, even though he knew what the old man wanted. This was because he wasn't confident he could pay him. Fluda's compensation was Aints' magic knowledge, but Aints hadn't learned his magic ability through accumulated study. So even if Fluda begged to be taught, Aints didn't really know what he could do. If it were Yggdrasil, he could share his magic knowledge, but this world seemed to have a different system. He wondered why the same spells existed if they learned them in a different way. He had other questions too, but hadn't figured out the answers yet. There was a mountain of things he didn't understand. He even had to consider the worst-case scenario. He might suddenly lose the ability to use his Yggdrasil abilities. Maybe he could get answers to his questions by taking a multi-level hit when casting the spell whose effect had changed in this world wish upon a star. This would exchange several levels for a powerful way to get a wish granted, but that was an extremely dangerous gamble. He could use it, but whether he would get his answers was a mystery. There was a good chance it would end as a total waste. He didn't have the courage to use this spell. It could be considered his ace move. Things would be different if he could gain massive amounts of experience points, but he hadn't found a way yet. Aints sighed, not that he had lungs, and felt like a salesman apologizing to a customer. The product he promised hadn't arrived yet. He cast message. Fluda Paradine, it's me, Aints Ul Gown. He said what he always said next. You ray from the village of Vermont. And your first experience with magic was, if I remember correctly, with a mystic there. Oh, master, I've been waiting to hear from you. Fluda's gratitude was palpable. These were the passwords. Fluda thought someone could impersonate someone he knew when using message. So Aints had promised to say the name of his village, which had already changed, and that memory. But even all that couldn't assuage Fluda's fears about message. Aints felt it was an unhealthy paranoia. But if that was the case, there was nothing he could do about it. Mildly weirded out by Fluda's blazing passion, he answered back, sorry, it's been a little while. I thought I would finally teach you some magic soon, like I promised. Do you have a little time now? Of course, no matter what's on my schedule, I can always make time for you, master. No, you really don't have to do that, thought Aints. But this passion for magic was Fluda in a nutshell. This magic maniac wanted lessons, and this ordinary guy had to bullshit his way through somehow. The job it was as much work as dealing with the complaints of an unbearable complainer made Aints' stomach hurt. I have no doubt that I am the one with the worst stomachache in the entire imperial capital. But he couldn't turn back now. In order to teleport into Fluda's room, he readied an intelligence spell to confirm his positioning. All right, I am going to go to your room using greater teleportation. Ooh, not teleportation but greater teleportation. What tier is that? Let us discuss that later. This message won't last forever because I don't have a commander class, you know. But there's something I need to confirm with you first. What kind of measures do you have to counter intelligence magic? Do you have anything to obstruct teleportation? No, I am not using anything like that. Hearing that, Aints' non-existent eyebrows twitched. Isn't that a bit careless? To have nothing at all? It was possible that any conversations they had in Fluda's room were overheard by a third party. My apologies, but those sorts of spells are a weak area for me. Then wouldn't using a magic item instead be elementary? I've seen all sorts of things in the imperial capital. I heard you were making them. Aints recalled the market he'd gone to the first time he visited the imperial capital. He had been surprised to see things similar to refrigerators. It's as you say, master, but you know that in creating magic items, it's important to be able to use a similar sort of spell. For instance, for a fire-enchanted weapon, you need fireball or another fire spell. But the spells for defense against intelligence magic aren't very popular. I see, thought Aints. In Yggdrasil, players could acquire only 3 spells per level through the usual means. So at level 20, they would have 60 spells. Expecting someone to choose obstruct detection as one of those was pretty harsh. For those who didn't know, 60 spells might sound like a lot, but if someone asked Aints to pick 60 spells from up through tier 3, he would spend all day thinking about it. First, he would want to know what they would be used for. Then he would want to know if a class change was possible. There were a lot of factors to juggle. In that sense, he did feel a bit bad for getting annoyed with Fluda. You right. This time was my bad. It's just as you said. Certainly, when you getting attack and defensive spells, detection and intelligence spells end up low priority. In the game, it was easy to say, I'll take this one, so you take that. But for these people, selecting spells practically meant deciding the course of their lives. It probably took quite a bit of bravery to choose unpopular spells. And detection, magic had some depth to it. It involved anticipating what spell one's opponent would use to collect intelligence. Being a caster specialized in detection, magic was like gambling with the chips of one's life, frankly. Okay, I'll give you an obstruct detection item. Stay on your guard with that from now on. Yes, master. He couldn't see him, but he knew that Fluda was bowing low. He might have even thrown himself on the floor. Your compassionate words have been received. Relax, it's just an item, thought Aints. It pained his heart. Right now then I am going to peek into your room. Aints cast the spell and looked into Fluda's room. From above, he could see Fluda on his knees. When he searched for magical auras, perhaps it was to be expected from Fluda, there were several different colors in the room, but none of them indicated the danger of teleportation obstruction. Upon confirming that much, Aints used greater teleportation. His field of vision changed. His teleportation into Fluda's private quarters was a success, though he knew from the lack of delay or feeling of being observed that he wasn't in enemy territory. He still swept his eyes around. He didn't need to be that cautious. Enemies were most likely to time their attacks for the unguarded moments following a teleportation. To avoid that, Satoru Suzuki had gotten totally used to anti-peeking moves. So good of you to come, master. Raise your head, Aints ordered. Fluda had bowed deeply upon seeing him. Aints felt that Fluda didn't really have to do that. This guy's loyalty, more accurately, submission stemming from greed, was abnormal. It could be termed similar to that of Nazarick members. Aints had finally gotten used to the people in Nazarick being so loyal, but when he got that sort of devotion from someone he barely knew, it put him on guard. Yes, master. Now then, I don't want to stand the whole time I am talking, so I'll take a seat. Yes, master. What's mine is yours. Use it all as you would. Aints felt like he would like to get accustomed to this attitude, but he also felt like he wouldn't. He sat down on a sofa. Fluda didn't move to sit across from him. He remained kneeling on the floor, lifting only his head. That's enough. Sit down. Are you sure? I can sit in the same way as you, master. I am pretty sure you used to have disciples. Is this how you did it? The way of thinking that seemed liable to be found at a freakishly hardcore company creeped Aints out, but Fluda shook his head. No, I never did anything like that. But between you and me, master, there is a gap that makes us incomparable. I could hardly consider us the same. I don't mind. I permit you to be seated. Now sit. Yes, master. Aints made sure Fluda sat down. Then thinking, arg, my stomach hurts, he asked a question. First, what happened with that thing I ordered you to do? Did you copy down all the inside facts of other countries, as far as the Empire knows? Yes, master. I finished recording the data for nearby countries. The only thing is what? Is there some kind of problem, master? I suppose it's no less than I would expect from the Emperor. His face looked proud. It was the face a teacher would turn toward his outstanding pupil. It appears he has discovered my betrayal. It was only natural to vow not to leak secrets when switching jobs. From that perspective, forcing Fluda to spy and give up insider information made Aints a brute. But Aints already knew he was ruling a country, not a company. Anything he did so that his nation would flourish, so that people who belonged to the great tomb of Nazareth were happy, was correct. He didn't have anything against Jerkniv, but that didn't matter when it came to profit for his country. If Jerkniv's unhappiness would make the nation of darkness wealthy, then Aints would make him miserable. That said, he was aiming for coexistence and mutual prosperity, rather than a full-on brawl. Squishy Mo had once told him a random story about what would happen if Mr. Nash got imprisoned. Apparently, the point was that if chance was limitless, then cooperating would lead to great profit. Aints knew that the two countries would use each other, but on a personal basis, he wanted to get along with Jerkniv. In exchange for poaching Fluda, he made sure no one from the Empire got hurt on the Catsy plane, so they were even. I feel closer to him since I am spying on him so much. What is it, master? Nothing. I was just thinking you were. I am terribly sorry for interrupting, master. You weren't being rude. I came here to see you after all. Oh, thank you, master. He seems awfully moved. What is that about? Aints thought as he got back to the point of their conversation. We were talking about poaching, right? I don't care if word gets out, but there's a problem, your safety. Oh. Master, that you would concern yourself with my safety is simply, why is this old man getting so emotional about every little thing? If you were not planning on cutting someone off from the beginning, isn't it the job of the person at the top to guarantee at least minimal safety to the people below them? Or is that not how it works in the Empire? If it's the latter, that's scary. I might kill someone who gets in my way, but I don't really like the idea of killing someone I've had working under me. Fluda, don't get so excited. If someone nearby could see us, it would look suspicious. Don't worry, master. This floor belongs to me and only me. There's no one else here. Aints had visited once. The tower was fairly big. He was certainly the Empire's most powerful caster if he could have an entire floor to himself. Now then, getting back to the topic of your safety, has anyone come to kill you as a result of your betrayal? There's no sign of that, but my work for the government has been cut. And the Emperor used to consult me often, but ever since we returned from the great lands you rule, he hasn't summoned me a single time. I see. Then Fluda, would you like to come be with me? Oh, gladly, that was fast. Then once I figure out what your role will be, there's something we need to discuss before that. Your reward. Now then, Aints reached into space. He had rehearsed the rest of this conversation repeatedly. He called himself out and corrected himself as he went. He had no idea if Fluda would really do what he imagined he would, but he had practiced enough. As promised, I'll bestow a piece of my wisdom on thee, Fluda. Take it and decipher it. Aints handed him a book of the dead. It was a musty old volume, but the pages themselves were in mysteriously good condition. There were no bookworm holes. Fluda accepted the book with trembling hands. Aints was thankful he was undead. If he were human, the book might have been trembling too from his nerves. What Fluda desired was to peer into the abyss of magic, but Aints didn't know anything about any abyss of magic. He could teach him what he had learned in the game Yggdrasil, but the abyss of magic was beyond him. Not providing it would be a betrayal of Fluda's loyalty. One good turn deserves another, and Fluda deserved a reward for his faithful service. So Aints gave him the book that appeared to contain the most magic knowledge, although as far as Aints could tell, it was just arcane gibberish. I beg your pardon. After flipping through a few pages, Fluda's giddy expression changed to disappointment. What is it?